Hello, friends. Welcome to another Mindful Moments. Today's Mindful Moment is on optimism. My name is Mariana, and I'm very happy to be sharing in today's Mindful Moment with you. If you would like to practice optimism in Spanish, you can also find my recording in Spanish in the Mindful Moments directory. Today we will identify positive and negative thoughts and the value, the importance of turning them around. So turning around the positive, the negative, in other words, the optimistic and the pessimistic thought, and the value in changing that outlook and how it helps to change outcome as well. But let's start, before we get going on optimism, let's start with a little bit of stretching. This time we're going to stand up. So if you're seated at your desk, at a chair, like me, go ahead and stand up. Straight back, relaxing the shoulders, relaxing the jaw. Beautiful. So we're going to start with just moving opposite arm, opposite leg, like we're marching. Bringing the knee up. I'm going to go sideways so you can see me. Bringing the knee up as much as you can, keeping a straight back, and letting your arms go along for the ride. Just going to breathe as we march. Good. Do a couple more. Excellent. Okay, now we're gonna just kind of shake our whole body. Sometimes I just do the arms, right, or the shoulders. Today we're gonna shake our whole body. So you're shaking your arms, you're shaking your hips, your knees, your head even. Shake, 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 shake. What we're doing is releasing tension in the body. And if we've been sitting for a long time, this is a really good way to just get that blood circulating, getting the body to reset itself before we sit again. You could stay standing up if that also feels better for you right now. So what is optimism? It can be defined as simply as just a change in outlook from more negative to more positive. So seeing the best outcome, something, the most hopeful or even the most successful outcome in any given situation. What is pessimism? Well, pessimism is the opposite, right? It's a more negative way of seeing an outcome. So hopeless, this will never work out, this is the worst, right? And so there's a difference in how we can see a situation and experience the outcome of a situation, depending on how we think about it. So you should have access to a series of statements, positive versus negative, optimistic versus pessimistic statements. If you have that handout, please, you can feel free to press pause on the video, access it, get it, look at it, and return to us. If you don't have access to the video or to the handout, no problem. I have some written down that I created. So I'm going to read here a couple phrases, a couple statements, and just listen to them. Notice the tone. Is it optimistic? Is it pessimistic? Is it a negative thought or a positive thought? And listen to the tone, listen to the pattern, and as you hear them, pay attention to how they make you feel even. This is a good opportunity to be mindful, right? Develop awareness of the way a thought, whether it's optimistic or pessimistic, feels in our body. So not just thinking the thought, but feeling the thought. If you have the handout, you can look at it. These are different. If you don't, you can follow mine. Everything will be okay. Everything will be okay. That will never work. That will never work. Optimistic, pessimistic. I will finish this homework by the due date. I will finish this homework by the due date. I won't have time to get it done. I won't have time to get it done. I'm going to enjoy this mindful moment. I'm going to enjoy this mindful moment. It will probably be boring. It will probably be boring. Notice the pattern. Like I said, notice how you feel when you hear these. Optimistic, pessimistic. And the last one. She won't show up. She won't show up. She'll be there. She'll be there. Okay, so there's some differences there, right? Each one presented one side of a thought process. One presented optimistic, the other presented pessimistic, right? So as we're learning in all of these mindful moment sessions, mindfulness is really about awareness, right? It's about having awareness of what we're feeling, what we're thinking, right? And what our body is doing at any given moment, really. I mean, it's about having awareness of the present moment and everything that comes with the present moment. And so what we're using here is a mindfulness technique of noticing, of awareness, to notice how optimistic or a pessimistic thought influences the way we think about something. And so as we notice, we try to do so without judging. I know that sometimes that's hard for me to do. I'll get upset with myself. I'll judge myself and say, oh, Mariana, you really, you were too negative about that, or to that person, or you were too pessimistic about that. And so that's not necessarily going to help me, right? So the noticing part helps. The judgment of myself and of why I thought maybe a more negative thought, a more pessimistic thought isn't going to help. So the important part is knowing that they're there and asking ourselves at that time, how might a more optimistic thought be useful, right? How does it help the situation? How does it help me? How does it feel? How do I feel? And on the other side, a pessimistic thought, how does that feel? How does that help or not, right? The situation. And really noticing, paying attention to that. And noticing and awareness then is a really empowering place to be when we become aware. Because when we become aware, we can choose again, right? And so in a situation in which I think, wow, I'm really going a pessimistic route here, I don't necessarily need to do that without actually knowing how it's going to turn out. So let me choose again. Let me change that. Let me shift that into a more optimistic way of looking at it. And 10 times out of 10, I feel better. And most often, it turns out that things were not as bad as I perhaps anticipated that they would be, right? So think about this and think about what this means for you in your own context, in your own settings, in your own life. And think about this in the classroom setting, in your school setting. I know right now, this is being recorded in October 2020. And so very few of us are actually in the classroom, but soon we will be, soon we will be. So let's think about some classroom settings now. I'm going to present a couple scenarios and think about what an optimistic thought or a pessimistic thought would help or not the scenario. Okay. First scenario, the principal of your school walks into your classroom with an angry face. The principal of your school walks into your classroom with an angry face. Look, what is the optimistic and what is the pessimistic thought there? How would you approach it from either side. And how does that make you feel from the optimistic and from the pessimistic? Okay, next scenario. You walk into the classroom and your teacher says, "Hey everyone, pop quiz, surprise quiz. Please put away everything and take out your pencil." You walk into the classroom and there's a surprise quiz, unplanned, unexpected. What is the optimistic? What is the pessimistic response or thought in response to that? And how does that make you feel? Let's see, I'll do one more. You are auditioning for a show or a performance in your school, and you've been practicing this dance, this number, and you feel like you really nailed it, you really got it. And you show up for the audition, and the person just before you finished their audition, and turns out they did the same song. Same song that you had been practicing and planning to audition. How do you respond? Optimistic thought, pessimistic thought. And how does that feel? Good. So think about this and think about how, no matter how you approach it, the outcome is always going to be whatever that outcome is supposed to be. And the way I approach it is, as much as I can, to remind myself, I certainly, it takes a lot of work, is to say, okay, I will go with the more optimistic version of the possible outcome and see what happens, right? So if you have a journal with you or a piece of paper, or perhaps you're on your computer, let's reflect for just a minute on a particular situation in your life that did not go the way that you planned, the way that you expected it. Just take a moment. You can sitting or standing, or if you're sitting at the computer, just kind of relax your body, relax your arms, and just think for a moment. Recall a situation, an outcome that just did not turn out the way you were hoping. And then take a few moments to write it down. To write it down and then respond to that situation from an optimistic perspective. See if you can look at it again from an optimistic outlook. Maybe it's a situation that happened at school or something with a friend. Maybe in your after-school job, in class. How would an optimistic outlook change the way you now look back on that situation? You can pause and keep writing. Come back when you're ready. Okay, so time for us to close. I think this is an important mindful moment. It's important for me as well, particularly right now in 2020, October of 2020. Really has been a year for all of us, really. And maintaining an optimistic outlook in the face of perhaps challenges, letdowns, unpredictable outcomes, unpredictable circumstances. It's hard work. right? It's hard work, and it starts with awareness. It starts with mindfulness, and that's how we empower ourselves. We empower ourselves with self-awareness and the ability to then make a shift, right? Make a change into that more optimistic, hopeful mindset. And we can do this anytime in any set of circumstances, whether it's happened in the past, like we did today with our exercise, or in thinking about something that's going to happen. Anchoring ourselves within the most optimistic outlook that we can in any given situation. So, thank you very, very much. Let's sit with our back straight, with our arms just relax on our lap. Great. Inhale through the nose. One, let out one big, deep exhale through the mouth. Relaxing. Returning to our natural breath. Great, beautiful. Thank you very, very much for joining me today, and I will see you next time.